So today's class is going to be focusing on strengthening up the hip joints. So really good for people that are hypermobile, great for postnatal people. And some of the movements will be helpful for people suffering from pelvic girdle pain as well, which we know, hey Mandy, good to see you, which we know is, some of us know, is quite prevalent in pregnancy, but you can get it just from being hypermobile, and also during menstruation sometimes as well. Sometimes people get it then. So anyway, so that's what we're going to focus on today, the pelvis, okay? So you're going to need a yoga block. So a nice big one, so you can do some balancing work on that. If you've got 2 yoga blocks, even better. If you've only got 1, that's okay. So go grab that real quick and we're going to get started. Let's go. So come on over to the middle of your mat. So we're going to take the feet apart a little bit and then just have the knees just a little bit bent. Arms just nice and relaxed. That's the one. Okay, we're just going to roll the shoulders up. Exhale, release down. Inhale again, lift. Exhale. Good. Breath in. Exhale. Awesome. Warming up the spine now, floating one arm up, gently coming over. So get that tailbone drawing down, so you feel a little bit of a subtle lift through the front of the pelvis and elongation through the lower back. All right, good. Coming back to the centre. Nice deep breath in, reaching up, and then again just slowly over. Again, just getting that nice length through the lower back. Tailbone draws down. All right, and then coming back to centre. Floating both arms up now. We'll interlace the fingers, press the palms up towards the sky. Good. Now, if when you take the arms up, you end up in quite a big back bend, just let the arms drop down a little bit. And again, draw that tailbone down and soften those front ribs in. That should help. Okay, good. All right. And again, just reaching over to one side. So get the flexion, get the bend from the middle back. So we're not dropping down into that lumbar region, compressing our discs. Coming back to the centre and then up and over to the other side now. Good. Pausing here. Nice work. Okay, come on up. I'm going to use triangle to warm all the major joints up. So just taking the feet out to either side. Moving over to the right side. I'll just do same side as you. So right foot turns out, lifting the left heel, turn that away. Good. Get those hips nice and level. Okay, so pull that right hip up. So that front hip bone, the front of the iliac crest is in line with the left. That's going to create, when you come down into Trikonasana, a lot less compression in the hip socket joint. Reaching out and then turning the arms from there. So just nice and simple. So you'll notice I'm not coming down super low. I'm trying to keep the space in the pelvic region and keep the pressure off the lower back. You still get lots of benefits, actually more benefits if I'm honest, from triangle by doing it this way. So expansion through the body now, so broaden across the chest, really grip with the thighs. So imagine you're pulling that femur bone back up into the socket. Spread the toes and lift the arches of the feet. Just rest your gaze wherever feels comfortable for you today. Good. All right, take your time as you come back up now. Arms reaching up, palms are level to the floor. We simply come to the other side. So turning that left foot out, turn the right heel away, and then slowly again turning the arms. Again, broaden across the chest. Press down firmly into the feet, spread the toes. Good job. Stacking those shoulders, stack the hips. And again, grip with the thighs so it feels like you're pulling those thigh bones back up into the socket. And just breathe. Nice. Okay. Take your time now to come all the way back up. Arms released and jump or step back into Tadasana, mountain pose. So arms are just down by our side now. Okay, we're going to rock it forwards and back now, waking up the feet and ankles. So heels are lifting. Put the weight down into the balls of the feet. Spread the toes. They'll try and grip and shorten, but try and spread them instead. So imagine the crown of the head just being gently drawn up towards the sky and then sink back down. So this is waking up all those tiny muscles in the feet. Okay, healthy feet, healthy hips. All right, this time come into a squat, float the arms forwards, give a little bend in the elbows. Let's come on up again. And coming down, and again lift. Great, coming down. Good job. One more time. Again, we lift and we release. Good, okay, come on up, lovely. All right, coming into a little bit of a twist now again, we'll just bring the feet nice and wide. This time turn the toes in a little. Going to take a yoga block or brick and just place that down in the centre. And then think about keeping space through the ribcage, through that lumbar spine. Lift up through the bandhas. So in other words, pull the belly button in, lift up through the pelvic floor. Left hand goes down onto the block. We've got the right hand coming to the sacrum, so that flat bit at the back of your pelvis. Start to rotate now, bringing your gaze over to the right side. The chin remains in line with the sternum, with the breastbone. And if you're feeling a little mobile today, you could take that right arm up. That doesn't suit everyone. It can create tension in the neck. So if that's you, just keep a hand onto the lower back, no problem. Good. Okay, and release. Right hand down. Left hand again onto the sacrum. Nice and long through the spine, so spaciousness through that rib cage. Start to rotate now, so round towards the left. See how that feels. And then maybe take the left arm up, or maybe not. It depends. Good. And then from there, just gently release. Heel toe the feet in. We're going to bend the knees and just slowly roll on up through the spine. Release down from there. Good job. Okay, taking your yoga block now. One of these. I'm going to pop that down. I'm going to start strengthening up those hips now a little warmer. So I'm just planting my right foot down onto the block, and then I'm going to stand up onto it. So I'm going to push down into that right foot, lock out the right leg. So my left foot now is hovering off the floor. Okay, good. Hands onto hips, get into that pelvis. Bend the right knee a little and then just dip down that left hip. It's kind of small movement, and then we're going to lift back up, okay? So we dip down, this is called a lateral tilt, and then we lift. Now take that left hip higher than the right hip, okay? So coming down, think of a seesaw, and coming up. Good, keep that going. That right leg's going to start burning, you're welcome. So again, just coming down, and we lift, okay? So we're strengthening up that sacroiliac area. Now I want you to apply Mula Bandha as well. So as you exhale, lift the pelvic floor as that left hip comes up. Again, dropping down. Your stabilising muscles on this right side are working too, through piriformis, glute muscles, in particular the minimus and medius. Okay, so we're strengthening up both sides of the pelvis, just in slightly different ways. Again, exhale, lift the left hip, dropping the foot down. Don't put weight down that left leg, keep the weight on the right leg to get those stabilising muscles really, really working. Okay, let's do one more on this side. Good, and then plant the left foot down. We're bringing the right leg in front. It's going to stretch out. Flip the palm up on that right side and just reach over from there. Reach on over, just stretching through the side body. Nice work. Okay, good. Come back to the top. Let's try it on the other side now. So from here, left foot plants down onto the block. Start with the hips nice and level, so there's a little space between the floor and that right foot. Bend the left knee just a touch and then start to dip down. So right foot drops and then we lift. We inhale on the way down. We're exhaling to come up. We inhale down. We exhale, lift. So this is great for anyone that's overmobile in the joints of the pelvis and lower back. So signs that you're overmobile will be lots of clicking and clunking and just general discomfort in the pelvis. And possibly the sacroiliac joints and lumbar region. So small repetitive movements can be really great for that scenario, just to strengthen up the smaller muscles and give you an increased level of stability. All right, couple more on this side. Exhale up, inhale again, lift that pelvic floor as you come on up. Good, and releasing down from there. Left leg in front of right now, lateral bend, left palm faces up. And we reach over from there. Good job. Okay. Lovely. All right. So now just coming all the way back to centre. I'm going to come into tree pose now. So just taking the weight over onto the right foot. We'll go right leg first. Picking up the left foot, just planting that to the inside of the leg. It can go lower if you wish, lower than I've got it. And you're very welcome to lean into the wall if you need to today. Keeping the hands on the pelvis now, I just want you to take a moment to bring awareness to the hips. So with the fingertips and thumb tips just resting to either side of the pelvis, I want you to use the hands to bring your pelvis into a more neutral alignment. As soon as the foot comes up, the leg comes up in Vrikshasana tree pose, the pelvis wants to tilt forwards because it's easier to balance like that. However, your back then takes the load and your pelvic floor and abdomen don't have to work so hard. Okay, so and we don't want that. So imagine your pelvis is a bowl of water and we want to keep that water in the bowl. So I'm just going to tip that pelvis back a little bit so it's more neutral. See how that affects the transverse abdominal muscle, the lower abdominal muscles and the pelvic floor. The transverse goes all the way around, but there's an area of the transverse that this movement really is affected by. Okay, sweet. All right, good. And then just simply release down. So super simple session today. All right, right foot comes up. Let's go. Again, hands onto the hips there. All right, get that tailbone again, just drawing down. Good. So you're very subtle. Front hip bone's just lifting. See again how that lifts through the pelvic floor. You might feel it predominantly through the front of the pelvic floor. Glutes switching on as well. Just breathe. Okay, and then again just releasing the foot all the way back down from there. Okay, a really great way to strengthen the hips is a squat position. So I'm going to add a block. You know I like my blocks, so just taking a brick-like block this time, so it's good thickness, and just popping that between the thighs. Now really press in nice and firmly. Good, and then from here we're going to lift the heels from the floor again. Good, pausing there. All right, hands onto hips. With the heels lifted, I'm going to send the hips back. So flexion at the knees, flexion at the ankles, spread the toes. Keep gripping onto that block nice and firmly. That's going to help your balance. That's it. Now draw that tailbone downwards, lift through the pelvic floor, pull, consciously pull that belly button in. Hold it here. Okay, and then release. Come on up. Let's do it one more time. This time with the arms out in front. So reaching forwards, bend the elbows a little, shoulders drop down. And then from here, pressing into the block, heels are up, come on down, hold it there. Good, just breathe nice and long through the spine. And again, release, good job. Okay, downward dog. Let's come now towards the back of our mats. Hinging at the waist, hands to the floor, simply walking the hands forwards now into Adho Mukha Svanasana. So heels sinking down, spread out the fingers, spread the toes. You might like to just walk the legs out a little bit after that work in the hips. Okay, and then just popping the knees down and come on down from there. So we'll just take a little bit of a stretch before we do some more strength work. So reaching out with the legs, just going to press into the heels, draw the toes back. And then let the hand just hands up, come forwards from there, spread out the fingers, nice and long through the spine. Back of the neck is long now, soften the shoulders down and just holding it here. Inhale, exhale. Good, okay, keep those legs nice and active. So like we did in triangle, switch on those thigh muscles so it feels like you're pulling the femur bone up into the socket. You don't have to let everything flop just because you're stretching. Okay, so we can still get some length through the muscles even when they're switched on. The reason I'm asking you to switch them on is so the joints are protected, so we don't overstretch the ligaments and tendons too much around the joints. Okay, come on up from here. So sweeping the legs around to one side now, let's call this mermaid. We're going to bring hands onto the hips, and then from here just have a little play around. Actually, we'll bring hands behind to start with. Let's do that. We're going to have a little play around, lifting the legs from the floor, bring them all the way around to the other side and plant them down. Keep it going. All right, so we've got a nice little internal rotation on one side, external on the other. Go a little bit slower than you'd like to. All right, you're having to use that pelvic floor without even knowing it. Bonus. And then coming down. Now lift the hands from the floor, see how you go. Obviously that's a little trickier. And then again, bringing it round and down. Good. Okay. Keep that going. How are you doing? Good. All right, 2 more. Harder than it looks, isn't it? Good job. Okay, and release from there. Lovely. All right, bring the legs out in front now, pressing into the heels, draw the toes back. I'm going to bring the arms out in front, and then we're walking forward. So you just lift one sit bone, move that forwards, and then the other. Again, this is a great way to switch on the pelvic floor. You're also using the muscles that are deep in the pelvis, hip socket, etc. It's a very gentle way to strengthen the hip. And as I mentioned earlier, the small repetitive movements are a really great way for strengthening over or hypermobile joints. In yoga, we do lots of long holds, etc. Lots of big global muscles involved, lots of long levers, which is great. But for balance, we need to do short repetitive movements as well. The body needs both. Good. Okay, we're just going to come back one more time. Okay, good. And just let the arms relax down from there. Good job. Support your spine now with the hands just behind you, feet flat to the floor. Have the feet towards the edges of your mat, and then from here we're just going to drop one knee in. Okay, so one leg comes in, almost down to the floor but not quite. The hip's going to lift too, and that's okay. Back to centre and then over to the other side. Okay, back to centre. Dropping it over and again coming back, and we drop. Alright, I'll show you from the front. So just use it as a little bit of a release to start. We let gravity take over on the first 4. And then from there I want you to again switch on the muscles, and as you drop the leg in, really press that foot into the floor. Actively draw the abs in so you feel again more muscle switch on. Bring it back to centre, other side. Push that foot firmly down into the floor, and we drop and we bring it back up. Okay, let's do 4 more. Into the centre, foot's nice and active. Press, imagine you're trying to make an impression on the floor with your foot, an imprint. That's it. And then again, push, 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 come on in towards that midline, and then one more time. Okay, and come on up. Good. Okay, similar movement now on our backs. So come on down from there. Pressing now your lower back down into the floor. So we've got a posterior tilt of the pelvis. Just pressing that down. Arms are down by our sides, and then we come on up from here. Okay. So similar thing now, but we're going to rotate really consciously from that hip socket, and I'm moving, feet nice and active. I'm going to move that left foot out. So I'm internally rotating from that left hip, okay? And then we bring it back. Other side, internally rotate from the right hip socket. So now my right foot's moving outwards, my knee is moving inwards and back. Let's keep it going. Turn and release. Turn, good. Again, harder than it looks. It can feel quite frustrating because it's not a movement we do very often, but we should do, and we should be able to do it. Turning in. So as you turn in, try and enjoy that feeling of these small muscles turning on. So as muscles working here as well. And by pressing that lower back down into the floor, we've got our TVA working, so it's a win-win. Turning in, good. All right, now I'm going to add an abdominal curl into this too, because why wouldn't you? Hands either side of the head, elbows drop down. So as I lift the head and just the shoulder blades, you don't need to come up any higher than that. And that will just increase your abdominal pressure, which we don't want, because can contribute to pelvic pressure, which means downward pressure onto the bladder. No one wants that. So from there, we're just going to curl on up. I'm going to internally rotate my left leg and release down. Okay, right leg turns in and we release. Let's go. It's a little quicker now. Alternating sides. Awesome. 4 more. So hopefully you're feeling that hip joint get a little bit tired now. Keep that lower back anchored down into the mat. We've got 1 more to do. And release. Well done. Draw the knees in. Nice work. Okay, just placing the feet down onto the mat now. Let's do a little release now with shoulder bridge. Arms down by our side, scoop with the hips, slowly come up, spread the toes, lifting from there. And then come up onto the balls of the feet, lifting the heels, and really slowly curl the spine down. Drop the hips, drop the heels, good job. And then again, lifting up, take your time. Heels come up, and again we roll down. One more time. Feet flat to the floor. This time we lift up, we're just going to hold it there. Let's bring the arms down by our side now, interlace fingers, pressing the breastbone up, squeeze the knees together just a little bit. Switching on those inner thigh muscles. Big supporters of the hip joint and the knee joint. Alright, and then again just releasing all the way down from there. Good, a little stretch out now, reaching one leg up, press into the heel. And then figure of four stretch. So again, external rotation, dropping the knee out, slowly come on up, hold it there. Good, just breathe. Okay, good job. Other side, lifting up, press into the heel. And come on down. Okay, figure of four stretch, hold it there. And again, just popping the feet down. Okay, rolling over onto your side now. Press into the hands. Come on up. And then let's just take a nice deep breath in, reaching up with the arms. Exhale, hands down. And then again, inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you found the session useful, and I hope to see you again. Any comments, just please feel free to post them below. And don't forget, I've got Sally Potts Yoga Club as well. It's just £5 a month, super cheap, with tons of these kind of classes on there. So feel free to DM me for details. Thanks a lot.